Well, I'm back at you, brother from Harlem with the high school education. As I was saying, as I was living here in Harlem and got all my friends around me, and here I am, learning life, knowing what it's like. Here we go, we gotta move again. Now, I was looking forward to going to junior high school in Harlem because I just got finished graduating from elementary school, 6th grade. In New York, we went to junior high school after the 6th grade. Junior high school consists of 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. I'm looking forward to going to 43 Junior High School because that's where all the cats in my neighborhood went. That's where everybody went to, Junior High School 43. And oh boy, I was looking forward to this, and now we gotta move. Mama says we're moving to an area called Washington Heights. Now, earlier I talked about Washington Heights because that was the area that when whites left Harlem, that's where the Irish Catholic moved to. Just on the other side of Harlem, but on the northern end. The furthermost northern end of Harlem was an area called Washington Heights. This was kind of an elite area. This is all white, mainly all Irish and Catholic. Had a few Jewish families lived there, but they lived a little further up. But it was mainly Irish Catholic. Everybody was Irish and Catholic. Well, my name's McFarlane, so it kind of sound good, but it wasn't good. Because once again, after we got settled in, and I'm looking around the neighborhood, we're the only black family on the block. Once again, 5, 6-story tenements, all whites. Everybody white but us. We're black, we could live in the building only because we were the Supers kids. But this time we lived in a basement apartment, big apartment. Oh, they treated the Supers real good, but this was in the basement. So our top window was at the street level of the street. So I could look out of the top window and I look right onto the street. And once again, I'm seeing all the kids playing games. I want to play. And then when they after we had gotten settled in, they used to come to the window, and this was my first experience with racism. They would stand in front of our window, and them boys, because they knew there were a couple of boys in there, my sister, 1 girl and 2 boys in there, and they would stand in front of the window. Now my mother was working, you understand, so she didn't know what was going on, and I tried to keep that away from her because now I'm 12 years old, and I'm considered to her I'm a big boy now, so I understand some things. But they would stand in front of the window, and like I said, they would holler, "Nigger, nigger, nigger." Say, "Come on out, we're gonna whip your butt." And, oh man, now I done had to fight the Spanish boys in the Bronx and the brothers in Harlem. Now I got to fight these white boys. So I go out, there's about 15 of them standing around. And they start pushing me around like they normally, this is what they usually do you when you're new. They push you from guy to guy and they push you back and forth. Only difference is now I know how to fight. I done took enough whippings and learned how to put my dukes up and fight. Now I know how to fight back. So they push me around a couple of times, and then what they do is they make a circle and they push your guy into the ring to fight you. But see, they weren't really smart. They would always put one of the weaker guys in there, and I'd thump him a couple of times and whipped on him, had a good fight out of it. They would leave me alone for that day. Next day, same thing. They'd call me out again. Next day, same thing. I'm going out to fight. Because that's the only way I'm going to hang out and exist with these guys, is to show them I'm tough enough to be up here with you white boys. So that went on for a little over a week. I done fought about 7 of them. the fights are now getting harder because they're getting, the tougher guys are coming my way. Now, if I didn't thump on a couple of them, all of a sudden now I'm into some real serious fights because now their best fighters are coming at me. And one day they just decided, and I'm going to use the phrase that they use, this nigga ain't going to quit. And that's the way they looked at me. This nigga ain't going to quit. So now I become one of the boys because they see that I would have had to fight all of them. I was willing to fight all of them. That they won't, because they saw me thump on these boys a couple of times, and they said, well, man, this cat can fight. So maybe we better not, he could just be hanging out with us. But for the 2 years we lived up there, I had to live with the phrasing that they used, the terminology that they used. Now, they didn't call me a nigga anymore. But when they talked about my people, I heard it all the time for 2 years. They called us niggas, coons, and spades. I heard that all the time. Touched me deeply. Now, remember, I'm living there with them, but on the weekend I'm going to Harlem to see my boys, hang out with Joey and Jimmy Strong and Bud and them boys. I never told them what I was going through because I didn't want to start a race riot. I had to live there. They would leave and go back down to Harlem, see? So I had to live with this for 2 years because that's all we lived there for 2 years. Then I go to school. They all went to Catholic school. The Catholic school was 4 blocks from where we all lived on 171st Street. It was on 175th Street. My public school was 7 blocks away because it was on 177th Street. So in the morning we would walk to school. They stopped at the Catholic school. I went to my school, which was 2 blocks away. And I dealt with it. We played the games. They taught me how to swim. I beat them in every sports game that we played. So I was always being picked. I never had to worry about not getting picked on the team because I was better than them, you know, athletic-wise. But I still had to hear those words. Nigger, coon, and spades. I ran track. That's when I first started really running track because I joined the CYO with them, which is the Catholic Youth Organization, even though I wasn't Catholic, because they allowed people just to compete. I just wanted to compete. I didn't care about their religion or their school or anything. I was just a competitive kid. I just wanted to compete. So I had to deal with that. Now, my school, there was maybe 1,000, 1,200 students in that junior high school. There wasn't but 8 black students there. 8. And all of us just happened to be the children of the superintendent because there was only 1 in each block. So in my little neighborhood that I lived in, that was it. The following year, my 8th grade, they started a program, some places they call it M&M, which is minority to majority, where they bus some of people of color into that school district. Now, it just so happens that we were right on the border of where the blacks live, so they didn't have to bus them that far. So they bused them from a school called Stitt, which was right down the street. And Stitt, I think the next year in the 8th grade, they sent like 40, 45 of us. But it was still only us and the rest of them. So I had to deal with that. I had to deal with that all that time. And I didn't tell my boys in Harlem what it was really like. I didn't even tell the kids down the street what it was like. Because, trust me, it would have created some trouble. It really would have created some trouble. And I didn't want any trouble. I just wanted to be there. And being that Mama said we were going to move again, I was so glad to get out of that neighborhood. The difference was, the 2 years I had a year left in school there. So even though we moved to Harlem, back to Harlem, wasn't right where my boys were, but I was back with my people. The last year of my school year, I rode the bus up there to school. We didn't change the address or anything. I didn't change the schooling or anything. I would just take the bus and go to the school like I still lived in the neighborhood until I eventually graduated from there. But it was a different experience for me because now I'm seeing firsthand what racism, not in America, in New York, was really about. It was not easy, my friends. It was not easy dealing with that. Especially, I'm an aggressive kid. I want to do this. I want to do that. Now, all of a sudden, things are being published and broadcast in the media about racism. Prior to that, I had never heard. I didn't know what racism was. Even though I went south, I still didn't understand what it was. But now I'm starting to understand because my mind is opening up. I'm becoming aware of the surroundings and the situation. Now I'm beginning to see New York for what it really was. A racist city in those days. But we're still in the 50s, my friends. We're still in the 50s. You know, I graduated from junior high school 1959, getting ready to go to high school. But I'm seeing the world through different colored glasses, as they say. I'm seeing what it was really like in those days. Now, I know this didn't just happen to me, but I'm speaking to what happened to me, the brother from Harlem with the high school education. I want to thank you, my friends, for staying with me and these little bites that I'm giving you about New York. But like I said before, I want you to be able to digest what it was like growing up in racist America, let alone racist New York City, because all that didn't just happen in the South. We had in the North what we call, in today's world, hidden racism. Gentleman Jim McFarland, the brother from Harlem, with the high school education. I'll be back at you.